Welcome back to When Women Pray. I am your instructor and coach, Dr. Ursula. We are now in Section 1, Part 1, Who God Is. When we describe people that we know, or even if we describe a comedian or an actor, we start with their attributes. We start with the physical description. Diana Ross has beautiful hair. Bishop Jakes is tall. Idris Elba is dark. Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis was graceful. Jennifer Aniston has straight hair. Carrot Top has red curly hair. Aishwarya Rai has blue eyes. Keke Palmer has a beautiful smile, and so on. And then we talk about their personality. Anything that you can use to describe a person, you can also use to describe God, because we were made in His image and in His likeness. Here is an introduction borrowed from the internet. Bronca Lee isn't your typical keynote speaker. His unique background includes touring as a ringmaster in a European circus, appearing on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, being featured in a Super Bowl commercial, and beatboxing with his son in a viral video that received over 150 million views. He's an author, producer, and world-class performer who plays over 40 instruments, and he currently serves as president of the Georgia National Speakers Association. Bronker is an outdoor enthusiast, the father of 2 young boys, and currently calls Atlanta home. He's here today to share an energetic and refreshing perspective on what's possible when we embrace a mindset of growth and creativity. Please welcome Bronker Lee. Now, in your journal book, read the questions that follow this introduction and write your response. Pause the recording and come back when you're done. Welcome back. Now that you've written your responses to the questions regarding the introduction of Bronker Lee, let's continue. God has a personality. We need to know that God has a sense of humor. We need to become familiar with those things about Him so that we can communicate better with Him. Understand what He expects. Understand what He frowns upon, what He forbids, and why. There's always a why behind it. Read the question on the next page and write your response just beneath it. Pause the recording while you do. All right, welcome back. Let's continue reading. When a parent tells a child, "Don't touch the stove, it's hot," why give such a warning? Because we don't want them to get burned. Don't climb up there, because if you become afraid while you're up there, you might end up falling or needing help getting down. Don't go too far into the pool. Why? Because you can't swim. Don't go too far into the pool. Why? Because you can't swim. The worst that can happen is you will drown. We have to understand the reason behind what He tells us. I've heard a parent say this to their kids: "Don't come in here trying to hug me after you've been outside playing all day and rolling around in the mud and playing with your little friends. You stink. So you can't just come in here and think you're going to hug on me and leave a trail of dirt all over the place." In the same manner, we can't come to God all stinky and not make any effort to sanctify ourselves, set ourselves apart, clean ourselves up, and present ourselves properly to a perfect God. Now, I don't want you to take this to the extreme and feel like you have to perfect yourself before you approach the throne of grace. That's not it at all. But before you eat a meal, most of us wash our hands. Or before you take off your work clothes and jump in the bed, you take a shower. Certain things we know instinctively must be done. So that's the point that I'm getting across here. There are certain things that we know we can do before we approach a perfect God. And sometimes it's just a matter of the heart, because that's what he looks at anyway. He doesn't look at how the hair looks, or if we're a matted mess, or if we need a pedicure or a manicure or our breath stinks. He's looking at the heart. So turn the page, and what you will see there is an opportunity for you to determine what you know about God on an intimate level. It's called Names of God. When you think of the many hats you wear, or the various titles that you have held: mom, wife, sister, executive, cook, medic, mechanic, seamstress, therapist. You get the idea. It is so simple to God, so similar to God. It is so similar to God and the innumerable ways he is, not becomes, is what we need when we need it. Take your time and think about each of the names of God below. And what I want you to do is right next to those, you'll see instructions on the next page, but right next to those, I want you to just write what those names mean to you. So for the first one, as an example, Jesus. The first thing I think about today anyway is Savior. Tomorrow I might think of Rose of Sharon, or Lily of the Valley, or Bright and Morning Star, or Emmanuel, God with us. So whatever it is that comes to mind for you, fill in all of those names of God. And if nothing comes to you, skip it and go on to the next one. Pause the recording and come back when you're done. Welcome back. Now I want you to just take a look at what you've written. This lets you know how familiar you are with a God that we can never fully and completely know in our human existence. It's what we learn about him based on our experiences living this life. So the more we learn about him, the more we learn about ourselves. Why? Because he's our creator. He made us, and he loves us more than anyone else ever could. Not even mom and dad, or whoever that person is that loves you the most. So now that you've done that, you'll always come back and revisit this as you gain more knowledge and more intimacy with him, and fill in other blanks that you may have left blank. The idea is to begin the process of making God's essence relatable and relevant to you, because that is how you become more intimate and your prayer becomes more personal. And no matter what's going on in heaven, he's going to say, shh, 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 shh. My daughter's talking to me. And he's going to incline that ear to hear what it is you have to say. I want to congratulate you on completing section 1 of 7. And I will see you back here for section 2. Killing the Imposter Syndrome.